What's going on, Colts Nation? I appreciate you joining me for another video where today we're going to talk a little bit about quarterbacks and quarterback competition. What could the Colts be looking for? Who are the options, right? And we're not going to go, this isn't a deep dive video. This is just a video to quickly get through who the candidates are going to be. I think tomorrow, I don't have to work the day job tomorrow. So I think tomorrow's the day where I'll sit down and start really looking into realistic options and start putting that together. But this is, again, more just talking about what we could look for, what the different people we might consider for the job. And of course, when you think about this could really go any kind of way, right? Because we have a mobile quarterback. And with that, you think, okay, we're going to get another mobile quarterback, somebody that could fill in if Anthony goes down, right? And I mean, Chris Ballard even said it, right? He hasn't proven that he can be healthy for 17 games. We got to get a suitable backup in there if he's continuing to miss time. And if that's going to be the case, then it would just, the easiest thing would be to have another mobile quarterback, right? Somebody you can fit in. The offense doesn't change. You still have the threat of a running quarterback, which helps Jonathan Taylor. But we saw when we had Carson Wentz, Jonathan Taylor doesn't need that to happen. Right, I think the offensive line does a good job. Tony Sparano Jr. does a really good job with that offensive line. And overall, I think the offensive line should be fine. And with what we saw from Jonathan Taylor here at the end of the season, and I mean, even at the beginning of the season, right, he had an ankle that he was messing with for a little while. But you could tell once it was behind him, especially after the bye week, outside of dropping the ball at Denver, I mean, the back part of the season after the bye week was, absolutely incredible by Jonathan Taylor. We expect him to come back into 2025 and keep that rolling, right? Be Jonathan Taylor that we know he can be with, especially with Anthony in the lineup. But again, this is a conversation of if Anthony's not in the lineup, right? And what happens with Jonathan Taylor. And again, he can do whatever he needs to do with whatever quarterback, as long as the quarterback can throw the ball, and which it brings us to the point of, okay, where do we go? Is it going to be a running quarterback, right? And of course, everybody thinks of Justin Fields right away, right? Or is it going to be a Sam Darnold, right? A pocket passer, right? Somebody who can move, somebody who can kind of like, and not to say, I'm not saying Sam Darnold is like Andrew Luck. Okay, John Gruden just said, I believe yesterday, I'm pretty sure it was, or maybe it was Saturday while he was watching some of the playoff games. John Gruden said, God made Andrew Luck perfect, and that's a fact. Okay, Andrew Luck is him. Okay, but from the point of Sam Darnold is mobile, but not an incredible, insane athlete. Incredible athletes. Of course they are. They're in the NFL. But he's not an insane athlete like an Anthony Richardson and can't run like that, obviously. But he can move and he can pass the ball down the field. Now, obviously, Sam Darnold, the best year of his career, he has Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, right, with Aaron Jones in the backfield. And just to be completely honest, like, it's a step down. Right, when you go to Michael Pittman Jr. and Alec Pierce, it is a step down. Justin Jefferson is him, okay? Of all the jerseys that I have, all the Colts jerseys I have a Justin Jefferson jersey also in this closet, right? I think the only non-Colts jersey I have, other than the Derek Carr jersey I got when I was like 20 years old. So, so we're just sitting in a spot like, hey, this could go either way, man. You could get a pocket passer, you could get a runner. I've seen people say, like C. Lou at Drop Balls Pod on Twitter, talking about how the Colts need to go into the draft and get a guy from the draft that can put pressure on AR. And my only problem with that is I just don't think there's a single quarterback in this draft that we could draft. I just don't think there's a single quarterback. I don't think Shedeur Sanders is a world beater in the NFL. I just don't. And I just don't think there's a quarterback in this draft that could push Anthony Richardson. Like, Anthony Richardson in this upcoming draft would still be a top 5 pick, in my opinion, with the quarterback needy teams, with what he can do, his potential, and with the quarterbacks in this class. Like, this isn't the class to find somebody that's going to push Anthony. So in my opinion, you have to go into free agency, and that's where you're going to get it done. And of course, like, I'm not the biggest college football person. I kind of loosely pay attention to it. I'm a Michigan fan, so I pay attention to that. Of course, I was into it last year when we were winning games, and then of course this year when we finished the season pretty well, beating Ohio State and winning our bowl game. But nonetheless, right? If you know of any college quarterbacks, hey, maybe this is a guy to keep our eye on in the later rounds, whatever it may be. Let me know. But for the purposes of this video, I mean, this is wide open. Who we could bring in. The list, I mean, seemingly endless, right? A huge list of names. Do you want it to be a veteran guy, maybe? Right? And we've seen Gardner Minshew, Joe Flacco in here. Like, do you bring in a veteran guy, right? And I honestly don't think it should be discounted that Jason Bean's in the building. I think he showed some good things. And I think when you go into an offseason of, okay, AR is going to have to prove himself. So it's not guaranteed that he's going to win this job. Like, this is a competition. AR is going to have to prove that he deserves to be that guy. So when you have that mindset, I think you see Jason Bean as coaches. I think you see Jason Bean in a different light, right? I think you see Jason Bean as real competition instead of just a young guy that we drafted to fill the room. I think his talent speaks for itself. I think it'd be interesting to see how he develops and see what that looks like. So Jason Bean, definitely an option. I don't want to continue to count him out. I don't see many people talking about it. I don't want to count him out and just say, oh, he doesn't have a chance. Being in the building and making it even to week 18 without dressing for the team, I mean, that probably says enough to you about what could happen with him. But I do know that the Colts already signed him back for next year, expect to have him back. So he will be part of that quarterback competition. Now, as we go through, right, again, a long list of names here of quarterbacks that the Colts could possibly go to next season as a backup. And are any of these guys or all these guys, of course, some of these guys are going to take backup jobs, but at top of the list, Sam Darnold. Will he take a backup job? It just doesn't seem like, with the year that he's having, the money that he's going to want after having a year like winning 14 games, whatever they do in the playoffs. Now, I think this upcoming playoff game is massive for his career in terms of what he's going to earn, what he earns next year. If he comes out, right, the way the Vikings looked against the Lions, if they come out look bad against the Rams in the playoffs, Sam Darnold has another not great game. Could affect things a lot for Sam Darnold. But if he comes out and plays well, the Vikings make it to the divisional round, then you come to a point where Sam Darnold is going to be looking for a starter job. He's going to get big money, or at least fairly big money. I mean, $35, $40 million is almost cheap for quarterbacks nowadays. So I could see that happening for him. Depends what happens there. Either way, I don't think he's really not. I see a lot of people talking about it. I just don't know if that's going to be an option for us anyways. Okay, and then next up here you have Zach Wilson. Is he an option? Of course, you've seen quarterbacks like Sam Darnold, like Geno Smith, that come on later in their careers, right? Really start to figure it out a little later. Zach Wilson, one of those guys, right? Had a chance to get away from the Jets. And all we've seen about the Jets, even with Aaron Rodgers now, is that the Jets can't win. What Rex Ryan did with Mark Sanchez and that team, incredible. I think Rex Ryan deserves a lot of credit for what he was able to do, because the Jets are such a bad organization. We talk about how crazy things are for Colts fans. It sounds like Jets fans been going through this for 40, 50 years. Like, they just perpetually getting tortured by their own team. Jets can't get out of their own way. So now you have Zach Wilson getting out of New York, and he goes over to Sean Payton. I think that could be an interesting option going forward, right? And again, we'll talk about all of this more going forward, but two intriguing options here at the top. Of course, Trey Lance could be an option, another interesting option. Really hasn't showed anything in his career, so what's going to happen there? But a guy that next season, he'll be 25 years old, so he only got a couple years on AR, but he is, again, one of those mobile guys you could bring in. We'll see. Is he an option? Is he somebody we target? Jacoby Brissett's been in the building. A veteran guy, has some mobility, but of course not a lot. Played for the Patriots. They didn't win a lot of games. That was a bad team. Even with Drake May, they weren't winning games. Yeah, that was a dumpster fire. But Jacoby Brissett, be interesting to see what his reception would be like if he did come back. But of all the names on here, I do think he probably gets lumped in with their possibility he comes back, but probably not. Taylor Heineke, if we were ever going to get him, we probably would have had him by now. Marcus Mariota is an interesting option. That's somebody that, as I sit here, and even before when I looked at this list, I didn't really think about Marcus Mariota like that, but I could really see it. And I saw a tweet, and maybe this tweet is changing my mind, but you think about Marcus Mariota, just been in the league a long time, great guy. Went to Oregon and had a bunch of fame. Then goes to Tennessee, and obviously up and down, but a lot of down there in Tennessee. And hasn't been able to really find a starting job and keep a starting job. I think he started a few games for the Raiders, but Derek Carr was there, so never was able to stay there. But just a high level backup, right? You think about him going to Washington. I saw a tweet again that said, hey, the Washington Commanders, they went out and signed Marcus Mariota, Austin Eckler, Bobby Wagner. There was somebody else lumped in there that I don't mean to leave out, but it was like basically just saying, hey, they went out and got these veteran guys to really put around all their young guys and to really help mold this culture. And that's something that I think the Colts need to do. I think it's something that we would benefit from. It's something Chris Ballard sounds like he's working towards a way where he's going to bring some veterans in, not only to bring competition, but try to get people that have been in buildings that win. Right? They have those winning habits. They know what it takes to win in the NFL. Those are some of the guys you need to bring in, which is what the Commanders were able to do. And hopefully we can do the same thing. Marcus Mariota, interesting option, very interesting option. And wouldn't be upset if the Colts. Now, Washington's paying him $6 million. Rookie quarterback on a rookie deal, right? They're paying their backup quarterback $6 million. More than reasonable with what we have, with what we need to do. A veteran quarterback who is mobile, of course, not as mobile as he used to be, 31 years old, but with as mobile as he can be, with the talent that he possesses, that's real competition. So, boy, more I sit here and think about it and talk about it, the more I like it. Marcus Mariota, a very real option in my opinion. Maybe he decides to stay in Washington, though. Who knows? Then you have Jarrett Stidham. No, thank you. Drew Lock. They're talking about him being the future in New York after beating us. Andy Dalton. I mean, serviceable backup, but I mean, essentially the same thing as Joe Flacco. Of course, Joe Flacco's out there. Of course, one that everybody's going to talk about, Justin Fields. Going to be 26 years old when the season starts next season. And will Justin Fields be on the Colts having competition with Anthony Richardson? We'll see how that goes. Some quarterback needy teams out there. Do any of them decide to try out with Justin Fields and what they saw from him in Pittsburgh? Seemingly, Russell Wilson came in for Pittsburgh. Things were all right for a minute, and then it all fell off the cliff. They finished their year losing 5 straight. Justin Fields now becomes a free agent. What's going to happen there? Maybe Steelers say, hey, we were wrong. Let's go back to you. But because they benched him and because the way season ended, that feels like, hey, this one's kind of on you guys. I'm going to go elsewhere if I had to guess. And then go through these other names real quick. A lot of names here. Again, Jameis Winston, Mac Jones, Carson Wentz, Jimmy Garoppolo is out there. Case Keenum, Mason Rudolph, who showed some good things with Tennessee. That would be very interesting if he ended up on the Colts somehow. Easton Stick is still floating around as a free agent. Cooper Rush, plenty of starting experience. That would be very interesting bringing him in. Joshua Dobbs, bringing him in would be interesting. Brandon Allen, Nick Mullins, Kyle Trask, Kyle Allen. Russell Wilson's going to be a free agent. Do you bring him in? Boy, that would be quite interesting. Going to be interesting. I didn't know Russell Wilson was 36 years old. Bro is 36. He's been around that long. That's crazy. Wow. So will he hang it up? Is it time for Russell Wilson to hang it? Him and his wife obviously got plenty of money. Is he done? Or will he keep going? 36 years old. That's crazy. CJ Beathard, Jeff Driscoll, Desmond Ritter, absolutely not. Sam Ellinger is on this list. Imagine we just bring Sam Ellinger back and that's the competition for AR. Boy, Tommy DeVito also going to be a free agent. He'll get to move around, see if he can land with somebody at a winning franchise and try to make something happen as a backup. But that's the list, man. That's the list of all the different guys. And I didn't mention all the names, so you don't need to. Not everybody's an option, but there should be competition. It ended up going longer than I thought, to be completely honest with you. The competition, we'll really go into these guys and, hey, does this make sense? Does this not? There's plenty of time until free agency, so we're going to have plenty of content. We're going to do a lot of different videos. We're going to talk about different positions. A lot of stuff coming, of course. Draft in just a couple months, right? We got 3 months and then the drafts here. And then 3 months after that, training camp. And then about a month and a half after that, boom, we're at the start of the season. All right, we're layering this thing out. We got plenty of content to come. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you have notifications on so you get notified anytime we drop any content on this channel. Of course, I appreciate you stopping by for another video. And as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.